Hello everyone, today's poem is 忆江南 by Bai Juyi. So it's springtime, we'll keep talking about poems about springs. This is the second poem writing about the spring in the Jiangnan area, the area of the Jiangsu, Zhejiang, Anhui, and Jiangxi area that refers to as Jiangnan. So the last poem writing about this place, the spring in this place, is by Du Mu. Du Mu is in the late Tang period, and he has his characteristics, the refined wording, and with the views of the time changing in the long Chinese history. So he always brings some of the long time changing things or the sense into his poem. And today this one is by Bai Juyi. He belongs to the mid-Tang period, which is just after the civil war, 安史之乱, and most people try to rebuild the country and to make the life to be recovered to the best time in the Tang Dynasty again. And Bai Juyi also they created the new writing styles, very simple, very closely to the oral language. So this can be reflected in his most of his poems and also these poems. And 忆江南 is the name for the rhythm's name. It's from the musical department, and so the poet writing the lyrics per the rhythm which is already there, and the sentences and the numbers of the characters, sentence patterns are already fixed. So the poet just write toward that fixed patterns with specific sentences, with specific quantities of characters in each sentences. And this one is actually written in the year of 837, when Bai Juyi is around 65 in his late years, and he has quit all his jobs, stay in the east capital city, Luo Yang. And this poem is writing to each other. We call it He. The Bai Juyi write to his good friends Liu Yuxi, another very famous poet. We have one of his poems. And Liu Yuxi also write to Bai Juyi with the same title, 忆江南. So they choose this title and they use the same title and the same rhythm pattern or the lyrics pattern to write their own words. And okay, let's have the poem first and then see. There's 3 poems. I just want to share the first of it because there's not too much of the things associated with this poem, but the wording is so beautiful and it's widespread and well known by most of the Chinese people just because of the wording. So, and the most famous wording is in the first poem. 忆江南，江南好，风景旧曾谙。日出江花红胜火，春来江水绿如蓝。能不忆江南? A very simple one, and the wording is just like the oral language. There's 2 reasons. One, the Bai Juyi, the poet, he changed the writing styles, or he pursued the writing style to use the oral language. The other is this is lyrics for the song of Yi Jiangnan. So the lyrics should be very oral and easy to understand. The best part of the wording is 日出江花红胜火，春来江水绿如蓝. So normally when we're writing about the poem, it's rains, flowers, or sort of things. But Bai Juyi used another angle. He described the rivers in the Jiangnan. Actually, he's writing about the city of Hangzhou, the things surrounding Hangzhou city. He was a governor for Hangzhou for quite a few years, and he do a lot of good things. He has so many good memories. He has beauties in his own house, just serve as a singer and dancers, and so he has very good life in Hangzhou. The days in his Hangzhou, and he also do a lot of the efforts for the cities. Though the people in Hangzhou, they have a very good attitude to Bai Juyi as well. So that's in Bai Juyi's real experience. Everything in Hangzhou is so good, so beautiful, and but when he think about the spring and the scenic views in Hangzhou, the first thing first, he thought of the river, and also the sunrise. 日出江花. So 日出 is sunrise. 江花could be the flowers alongside the river, or could be the shining on the surface of water, so it looks like the flowers. And I prefer the second explanation, the shining on the rivers and the reflection of the light, the sunrise light. It's all flowers on the red flowers on the surface of the river. 春来江水绿如蓝. So when the spring comes, the river, the water of the river looks like so green, and like the grass of lan. So be careful. The lan normally in the modern Chinese is a color. It's blue. It's a color, but here it refers to a plant, and normally it was used to make the dye, and which is the dye is in the color of green to green blue or blue green, so sort of things. It's green, basically it's green, but it's so green that it turns a little bit like blue. I mean the dye made of the plant lan. So here the poet it just described the green is so green, and it's turned a little bit like the dye, the color of the dye of lan. And 能不忆江南, so it's a very natural outcomes of the feeling of the poet himself. Actually, when you read it, you actually this self-ask questions also make you have a second thought. What do you think about the Jiangnan you got just in the poems, or just in some of the stories, or maybe you had your own experience in the area of Jiangnan? So I can share my experience in Jiangnan when I was in the campus in a summer holiday vacation. I went to Hangzhou alone, and I made a trip upstream the Fuchunjiang. So there's not much evidence which river this poem is writing about. But if you have been to the city of Hangzhou, you would know that only Fuchunjiang, just alongside of the Hangzhou city, can afford such a word by Bai Juyi. Okay, let's go back to my own experience. So I take a commuting boat upstream from Hangzhou city to a county which is so called as Tonglu. I remember it till today. I just been there once. So this is roughly 3 or 4 hours upstream boating, and I spent roughly half days on the river of Fuchunjiang. So the name is so beautiful. Fu, rich, Chun, spring, Jiang, that's river. So the name is Rich Spring River. It's such a beautiful and never forgotten experience for myself. I feel the green, and I didn't think about this poem at the moment because it's summertime, but I feel the green. The green is not only the water, by the water, because there's small hills in this area, small hills all around, 100 meters high, 50 meters high, 200 meters high. So alongside the rivers, it's so green. So the green hill and the green water, they shadow each other, makes it more green. And also, it's my personal experience, I feel the softness of the river. Before that, I never feel how the softness of water or river, but it's hard to tell. But the only thing reflected in my mind is the river, the water is so soft, so green, and or tenderness. In other words, tenderness. So, and the small hills, the shape is very soft or tender. It's roundabout. It's all green. So it's a experience I never had. So the most famous river in China, the scenic rivers, is Lijiang in Guilin. So I think many people has been there, but you can describe the Lijiang as green, as magic, but it never has the softness. It's such a little sharp cold in Lijiang, but in the place of Jiangnan, that's the tenderness and the softness. Okay, let's get back to the first 2 sentences. 江南好, that's the name for this rhythm. So he used that for the first sentences. This writing technique is so-called 开门见山. You open the door and tell what you saw. You saw the mountains, so you write about what is you saw. 开门见山. So 风景旧曾谙. 风景, the whales has been very familiar in the past time. Though this is also writing about the real feelings of the poet himself. The mind changes. So when they start to write these poems to each other, so Liu Yuxi to Bai Juyi, Bai Juyi to Liu Yuxi, he start to think back the days, the experiences in Hangzhou, in Jiangnan area. So he said the scenic view was so familiar in the old days, and then the sense, the feeling getting strong and strong, and getting to the real things, matters. 日出江花红胜火，春来江水绿如蓝。Okay, that's a very simple poem. And also, just because of this poem, the name for the rhythm, 忆江南, and later on, it was changed to 江南好 just because of this poem. There's also a very, very famous classic Chinese paintings. The naming is 富春山居图. It's depicting the scenario and the views of the Fuchunjiang. So Fuchun, it refers to the river's name. Fuchunjiang. Shanju means it's living on the small hills, on the small mountains. Shanju, so living in the mountains. Tu means a picture. So that's a very, very famous and very expensive paintings about this area, about spring. Okay, that's for today. I hope you enjoy it. Bye bye.